Alright, so I was debating on whether or not to actually make this kind of video or not, but I recently took a pretty long, lengthy time away from my streaming and making videos and whatnot, but I've never actually talked about my personal life at all, ever on stream or in any of my videos, other than, you know, some minuscule stuff. But for those of you that don't know, I have two kids, and a wife. About 2.5, 3 weeks ago, roughly, one of my kids had been bullied in school and whatnot, and along with being made fun of and this, that, and the other, and she tried to take her life. This was something that me and my wife never saw coming, and she's always been a very, you know, hyperactive and kind of chipper kind of kid. And so for us, it was very, like, unexpected. We knew nothing about the bullying, the teasing, and, you know, or just in general, just feeling miserable. She tried to hide it, but in the process of all of this, she obviously, after everything that happened, she was sent to a place where she could get some help, and then that's kind of when certain things came to light that we didn't know before, and basically she was just afraid to talk to somebody. She didn't want to talk to anybody, and was afraid that, you know, if she talked to somebody that she would be made fun of even more. It's one of those things that is kind of like an eye-opener, I guess. The point of me saying this is, if you know somebody that's, you know, struggling mentally or whatever, and if you have a chance to, you know, talk to them or find a way for them to get the help that they need, I definitely recommend doing it, because not only is it hard on the person that, you know, thinking about it, but it's also just as hard on the people around them, loved ones and whatnot. It's been rough. I've been trying to, you know, get back into streaming and stuff, but it is... I'm dead. It is difficult, and even now it's still a little bit rough, but it, I just wanted to make a video and, you know, kind of raise awareness for this kind of thing. And I'm not really sure if YouTube's gonna take it down or whatever, but I don't care. Yeah, no, I just, like I said, I just wanted to make a video and kind of talk about this. It's also kind of like another one of those things where, like, you can, even as a parent, I mean, you can plan for so many things, but then, you know, when it happens, all of your plans go out the window. And the best way to avoid this is not to, you know, sit there and think about all the worst possible things that can happen, but to find ways to make sure, you know, people that you love or whatever, you know, don't get put in those kind of situations. And I think the best way to do that is really to, you know, really know the person. And if you really do know the person, then, you know, it's much easier for you to get them help than it is them to seek the help, because the majority of the time they're not going to seek the help because they've already made up their mind. I guess what I'm really getting at is that, as I said, there's plenty of ways you can help people kind of going through issues or whatever. There's plenty of, you know, phone numbers you can call, websites, call a local, you know, therapist or whatever. Oh, shit. And, you know, try to get them the help they need. As I've said, it's and it's never easy, you know, trying to get somebody that help. I just really wanted to raise awareness for this kind of thing. Not just because it's, you know, something that, you know, obviously has happened to me, but that, you know, it could very easily happen to anybody. So, but yeah, you know, definitely if you know somebody that's going through some issues, you know, try to get them the help that they need, and yeah, really show that, you know, they're not alone, and that it's definitely, you know, not worth it. I will say that in my case, my daughter is doing much better now. I mean, she has, you know, received the help that she needs and is, you know, making progress towards getting herself back, you know, into a more suitable mental state. And as I said before, a lot of the problem is that, you know, you wanted to bottle up these emotions, not talk to anybody, and that's one of the most unhealthy things you can do. You can't just, you know, bury it down deep and never talk about it, and because eventually, I mean, that dam will burst. So but yeah, like I said, if you know somebody that's, you know, kind of going through something similar, or they're just having a hard time, talk to them, you know, ask them if they need help, and whatnot, and, you know, do what you can to, you know, kind of help them out. Especially with kids. I mean, it's hard. It really is. And especially as a parent, you know, you feel helpless, and, you know, you want to do something for your kid, but as I said before, when you don't, you know, when your child bottles everything up and all they do is put on a happy face and become this really good actor, it's hard to see the signs. And I think that that's what really hurts the most, is the fact that I never even really knew that, you know, my own kid was, you know, feeling this way. And it can make you feel like a failure as a parent, but at the same time, I know that, you know, it's not my fault. I do spend time with my kids, you know, I engage with my kids, you know, I know their likes, their interests, you know, what they, you know, they talk to me about, you know, their day-to-day life, but never, like, you know, harder topics like this. It's not something that's, you know, really easy to talk about. And whatnot. So, I mean, you can be in your kid's life and, you know, have like a meaningful existence with them, but, or not existence, but, you know, be a part of their life, but, you know, still not realize that something like this is going on. Doesn't, you know, even we've had people talk to me and my wife about this, and, you know, they've had to basically reaffirm that, you know, this doesn't necessarily make us bad parents or anything like that, but it's still, it's rough. It is rough. But yeah, as I said, I just wanted to make the video and kind of, you know, talk about it, let people know that, you know, there are ways you can help somebody. And I'm sure there'll be like a community note or whatever at the bottom of this video, with, you know, suicide hotline or whatever. And it is for me, it's kind of like at this point, it's become personal. There's no real way for it not to become personal, especially when you've, you know, had to deal with it and go through it. And so, but yeah. I do, you know, I really don't wish, I would never wish something like this on anybody, as it is, you know, it's difficult, it's painful, and it's hard to deal with. And as I said, it's not something that, you know, anybody in general, let alone a parent, should have to go through. So yeah, if you're struggling or whatever, you need help, I hope you get the help that you need. And, you know, if you know somebody that's like this, you know, definitely reach out to them, help them get the help that they need. A parent should never have to bury their own child. That's rough. So, but yeah, no, I just want to make a video and kind of like raise awareness on this kind of thing, and yeah, that's all I got.